So, look, I spent 8 years as a financial advisor, and I did a few different gigs while I did it. One of those ended up being working at a university. When I say that, what I mean is that I had a territory where the company I worked for administered the 403B at a university, which is like a 401k if you don't know what 403B is. Basically, if you work for a university, a hospital, a nonprofit, you're gonna have a 403B. You know, you work for a for-profit company, you're gonna have a 401k plan. And over that time, of course, you know, I saw a lot of mistakes. Now, there are mistakes, I think one that I think is very common that I want to talk about in this video, and there's a lot of other small mistakes that people make that we're also going to talk about. Some mistakes are going to cost you more than others. That's kind of what I want to get across in this video. If you know the mistake, then maybe you're not going to make it. So the main mistake, at least, we're going to go over a few different things. You may have already noticed a bit of a different format on this channel, on this video right now, and I'm kind of trying some new stuff, and I'd love to know in the comments what you think about it. Honestly, there are some YouTubers that I watch, and I feel like I just ended having a conversation with them, like they were sitting in my living room, like we were just having a chat. Anyway, so I'm trying to figure out how to make this more of a, you know, intimate conversation between all of us. I have an idea. I think I know how to relate these 401ks, 403bs, and a mistake that can really potentially cost you, I mean, a lot of money, $100,000 plus. And I think I can relate it to a metaphor. And to do that, I think we're gonna get out of the house today. We're gonna get out of this room, you know? Let's change it up. It's 2025. I'm tired of these old personal finance YouTube videos. Let's get out of here, let's go. So before we get to the big mistake, let's talk about some smaller ones a lot of people are usually making that I would see. The first one being that, and maybe it's not a mistake, but this is, let's say, a decision that people would make oftentimes, not to invest in their 403b plan or their 401k plan, I'm sure also. I know mostly about 403bs though. This basically just comes down to not having as many options. By the way, I don't know how many of these are gonna be, but I'm gonna I'll put some titles here. What number is this? This is number 1. So of course this makes sense. Now, you don't have a lot of options. You would rather maybe invest inside an IRA or a Roth IRA or a brokerage account that you have or something like that. You know, it's understandable, but it does tie into the big mistake. So another one, again, understandable. These are all very understandable. So sometimes a 403b, a 401k, they're gonna have higher fees. You might be fee conscious and you might look at it and say, well, I don't wanna pay, you know, 1% plus to have my money in this retirement plan where I could go open an IRA and get a super cheap ETF that only costs you know, maybe 0.05%. Okay, this one might be associated with the not having enough investment options one, but this one is not having a self-directed option. There are some employers who offer self-directed 401k options. Basically, that would mean that you might be able to invest how you want. You could invest in stocks, you could invest in your own specific securities. You don't have to just invest in a pre-made fund list, let's say. That's specific to the employer. And a lot of employers are not gonna offer this. So again, we have another credible potential reason why you might not wanna do this. It's because you wanna invest in a Roth 401k or Roth 403b and you don't have the option to do so. Your employer might not offer it to you. You might only have a traditional 401k or 403b available to you. That means you can't put money into your 403b or 401k that's after tax. It's all pre-tax money. So for this one, I used to have people call me up and say that they need to get money out of their account. And so depending on your employer's plan, there are ways to get money out of your 401k, 403b. It's not as easy as an IRA. One of the things with this is there's something called hardship withdrawals. So you might be able to take money out depending on a certain hardship that you have. Or you might not be able to get the money at all, but you might be able to take a loan. So maybe you could take a loan against your 401k or 403b, and they're gonna deduct that loan value out of your paycheck over a certain amount of time. So liquidity, or the ability to get to the money, is sometimes a very important part of this. Okay, so I don't really necessarily believe in this one, but I'm gonna add it to the list anyway. So this one would be not having the option for cryptocurrency, alternative assets, things like that. Now my thought is, okay, if you want to invest in Bitcoin, maybe that is a valid reason, or maybe even Ethereum or something like that. But there are people out there who want to invest in shit coins and meme coins, and that's where they want to put their money, so they're not investing in their 401k. And that's kind of the people I'm talking about here. The last one that we have here that I've seen many, many times is just not having enough money to invest in your plan. What's that usually mean? Well, it often means that you just have expenses and you don't have enough money left over at the end of the paycheck to add to your employer-sponsored plan and pay for your expenses. But a lot of times, the person's gonna roll up in like a Mercedes and tell me that, or they're gonna have a nice watch on, or they're gonna have these things that maybe they shouldn't be paying money for, and they want those things, and they're getting those things, and they're not investing in their employer-sponsored plan. This directly relates to the big one, which we're about to talk about because we're here. And time to wake everybody up. So turn your stereo louder. Paint your eyelids yellow green. Think it's time for the world to see that everyone is a superstar. All right, so what is the big reason here, the big reveal? And by the way, I know I hate in YouTube videos when people are in like some interesting location and you're always like, where's this person? And you go to the comments and you try to figure it out. I will tell you, I am in the Philippines right now, and I am in a place called Clark. Sorry. Clark is, it used to be, fun fact, a US Air Force base. So we're in the Philippines right now. Okay, so this big mistake. So I'm at a cafe right now. There are 2 different cafes in the area. I chose this one. Why did I choose this one? I like the menu options. There's more options. It's a bit cheaper, so I do like that. And I like the ambiance as well. So there's a few reasons why I have chosen this one and not the other one. Okay, that's just like your 401k or your 403b. You may not have chosen it because you didn't like the options, it was a bit too expensive, and you would have rather gone with an IRA, for example. Okay, so same page. Maybe I said this was a metaphor in the start, maybe it's more of an allegory. So now I feel like this is comparing apples to apples a bit. Now let me throw in another thing. This other thing that changes this whole concept. What if I told you, I'm gonna give you $3,000 to eat at the other restaurant? This year, I'm gonna give you $3,000. You just have to go eat at the other restaurant, drink the coffee there, spend your time there, and you don't go to this one. Do you think that's a good deal? I personally think you would be crazy not to do it. And so, if you're not following me here, basically, the biggest mistake people are making are not getting at least their minimum match. Whatever it is, you might have a car payment that's too high, you might spend a bit too much money on food, you may go to cafes that you shouldn't. Trying to get your match is probably the most important thing because it's free money. If I offered you $3,000 to go here to this cafe and not to the other one that you want to go to, I think you would take the money. And so you should take the money. However you need to get to it, you should take the money. So now you know that the biggest mistake that a lot of people were making was not getting their match. I would go into people's offices, I'd have meetings with them, and they would tell me they're not getting their match because of a slew of different reasons, and it was pretty much always a bad idea not to do it. So the next question though, why does it matter? How much money are they actually losing out on? Well, let's go back and figure that out. And keep this very, very simple with some very, very easy math. So the first number we have here is 10%. According to Fidelity, which administers retirement plans,
10% of plans have the following structure. The employer, where you work, your company, will pay 100% on the first 6% of the salary, of your salary, that you add to the 401k or 403b plan. An example of what that means. You make $75,000 a year. You add 6% of your salary to your 401k or 403b plan. That's $4,500 per year. Of that money that you added into your plan, $4,500, the company, your company, will add another $4,500. They're gonna match 100% of the money you put in. If you put in $5,000, they're not gonna match $5,000, they're gonna match $4,500. These are the numbers we're gonna use. So if you made $75,000 a year, $4,500 would be your match. All right, so how much does it cost you if you never get the match, and for 25 years you say, I'm not gonna get the match, screw that, I don't care. So that $4,500 at 8% is actually gonna grow to $328,000. So you would miss out on $328,000 by not getting your match with your employer every year for 25 years. A lot of people, they will at least get some of the match. So, okay, let's say you get 50% of your match and not the whole amount. So that would mean that you would add $2,250 every year to your 401k, 403b plan, and that's gonna grow to just over $160,000. So you would lose out on just over $160,000 by not investing and getting half of your match, not even the whole match. There's a lot of people not getting their match. You might be one of them. If you're the type of person who just is spending maybe a little bit too much money, it's probably the most important thing you can do is try to get your match at least. That would be maybe the start, because again, it's just free money. Anyway, comment below. I want to know if you like the format of this thing. I hope it's more intimate and more personal. I hope that you feel a bit like we just hung out, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.